Hey y'all. So how you doing so far? It's afternoon. For some of you, it's going to be late afternoon. For me, it's around, let's see, what time is it? It's about 1:30. So for some of you, it's going to be 3:30. And for some of you across the world, it's going to be Christmas already. Or maybe it is already. Okay. I have gotten a few messages, and I just want to mention this. I've gotten a few messages here and there about how when we have our Maker, when we have our faith-based family, that we don't always need family and friends around or loved ones. I don't know. I am addressing you in my life out there, you who don't have anybody, because in my world, we need people also. Of course we need that. Yes, of course we need him. But I'm talking about at Christmas time, we need somebody around. We need human love. And so I'm really going to disagree, not really disagree, but I am going to express my opinion on this. If you already have family and friends to keep you company, I don't know if it's a good idea to be telling others who don't have that they don't need that. I really don't. I think we do need family and friends and loved ones, people that we love. I think we need that around, especially during the holidays. So I just wanted to let you know that. That's my opinion. And it means a lot to me to have people around. And today's a day where I'm just totally alone. And I know a lot of you are out there alone too. So I'm your human connection for some of you, because some of you are disabled. And some of you, I did get one message that said that you were listening to my morning message today in a foggy parking lot, Walmart parking lot, in Washington State. And kind of broke my heart. You did. I know you're doing well. I know you are. But it kind of made me cry when I read it. And I read it to, when I talked to my daughter on the phone, I read it to her. I go, listen to this one. Yeah, it was pretty touching. So thank you for that. I got this fidget thing. I'm not really sure. Play around with it more. I guess you can make shapes out of it. But it's something like to fidget with. It's pretty. I like it. Yeah. I like colorful things like this. I really do. But they said that you can make different shapes out of it. I don't know. I've only made one so far. So, yeah. Okay. So that's my little opinion piece. And I know that he wants us to be with other human beings too. Yeah. There are times where it's good to be just in solitude. But I'm not so sure that Christmas is one of them, or New Year's. We need to be reaching out to each other. We need to reach out. And I don't think that society tells us that society tells us that we need family and friends. I think our higher power tells us that too. Yeah, that's why we're created, Okay, so I wanted to mention, one of you asked me about food. What were my traditions? Well, I'll tell you, when my children were young, I used to make, I had this book called The Vegetarian Epicure. It's a popular book, and there's a new version out. But I remember it had this, she was kind of hippie, really good recipes. But there was one in there for holidays, and it was called strukla. I used to make strukla. It would take all day. It really did. I remember it was a bread thing. It was a bread product. And you had to knead it and then take it and slap it down on the counter. I did all that. I followed the instructions impeccably, and it was really good, but it really did take a long time. What else did I make? Sometimes at Christmas I would make a homemade cheesecake. It was good, yeah. And what else? I know, I'm trying to think of all this. I loved making deviled eggs. Yeah, I love eggs. I think if you've been watching me a while, you know I love eggs. I used to do the deviled eggs. Pumpkin pie. You know, pumpkin pie, I would make year-round. I love pumpkin pie. It's actually pretty good for you. And I would really spice it up. I put a lot of cinnamon and cloves and ginger and allspice in there. Oh, yeah. I had a more darker pumpkin pie because I put a lot of spice in there. And I made my own pie crust from scratch. Once you make it, you got it down pat. It's pretty easy. It's just that you have to have confidence in making it, okay? And then you're good to go. So I did that. What are the kind of pies? And apple pie. You know, lattice apple pie. Oh yeah, I did a good apple pie with like put a little bit of orange like zest in there and a little bit of juice in there. Yeah. Not so much Dutch apple pie, just lattice baked apple pie. And yeah. So, but when my children were very, very small, I remember the main baking was the strugla. It took all day. Now, when I was a young girl, my father had the kind of job that every once in a while, he would have to take his turn working Christmas. He worked for Ma Bell, if you remember the Ohio Bell. He worked for the phone company at 16. He worked there all of his life. And, but that was when the inside, it wasn't computer based at all. So there were times that he was an inside guy. He wasn't, a lineman, you know, working outside. He was the inside guy and with all the circuits and everything. So, what we would do is, I think it was once every 4 years, we would do Christmas on Christmas Eve because my dad would be gone all Christmas Day. And so that was always a tradition. That's why with my children, what I did, it was common. Like I said, maybe it was every other year, but every fourth year maybe. And we would open our gifts on Christmas Eve. So that was like a tradition for me when I had my children, that we would open gifts at night. It was sort of magical during that time, I thought, to open a gift. So what we would do sometimes is open 2 gifts, maybe on Christmas Eve, and then the rest would be for Christmas. Yeah. I don't remember when I stopped believing in Santa Claus. I do not remember that. But yeah, I always got a new doll. Back then, dolls were big. I don't know if they are so much for girls anymore, but in my era, yeah, dolls, and I loved them. I love dolls. I remember one year I got a walking doll. That thing was like, it was like this tall. My main doll when I was younger was Betsy Wetsy, and I know some of you are going to remember that doll. Yeah. Now, I moved to Arizona, so when my parents became, they were nomads for a few years, and they actually sold their home and everything, and they brought me a few things because they were selling everything, and I lived in Arizona. They brought me the Betsy Wetsy doll. My children were terrified of that doll. It looked so real. They were terrified of it. I had to like put it away just so my kids weren't afraid of it, and my older grandchildren were afraid of it too. But here comes my oldest daughter's granddaughter, the one that was here. She lived right beside me. She wasn't afraid of that doll. She was the only one in my family besides me that was not afraid of that doll because it was so real looking. And the eyes still worked, you know. And I let her play with it. I figured at some point I'm going to get rid of it. Nobody wants this doll. And she would drag it around my house, and she would play with it, play with the eyes, and she'd cover it up. It was so cute. But yeah, Betsy Wetsy. I know. Some of you guys, you're like, let's not talk about dolls. Well, let's see, what can also we talk about? Tradition. Somebody, I don't know if we got, like on Christmas Story, which I love. On Christmas Story, I don't know if we got to pass around the chance to pass out presents. I think my parents pretty much handled it. I think my dad pretty much handled that year after year after year. He got to pass out the presents. I remember, what would I usually get him for Christmas? I remember I'd get him Old Spice. I love Old Spice. I still do. I love the smell of it because it smells like my dad, But Old Spice. And I don't know, we didn't get a lot of presents. I think we got just probably the normal amount of what I've seen on TV and things like that. So just, my mom was a good cook, and we would have a dinner, usually turkey, maybe ham. But we had a good meal. I will mention my mother was a really good cook, and she made full course meal every single night. I mean, pretty much every night. We had a good meal every night. All the food groups, including dessert. It might have been maybe a cut up watermelon in a little dish. Could have been pudding. It could have been Jell-O, it could have been a piece of pie, could have been a piece of cake, but there was always dessert. Isn't that incredible? We always had dessert, yeah. And she would assign one of us to go serve the dessert, and we'd go out in the kitchen and bring it out for everybody. We were pretty formal when it came to eating. We had to be there at 5 o'clock. My dad got off work at 5. Well, it was just a little bit after 5. And he came right home. He didn't go anywhere. After work, he never went anywhere. He didn't go to he never, I couldn't honestly, my dad never stopped off at a bar or anything after work. Oh my gosh. That was not in his repertoire. He came right home, parked the car, came in. He might drink a little cup of coffee, and my mom and dad would chat in the kitchen. And while she was making dinner, and at 5 o'clock, or it had to have been after, because he would get off work at 5, we would all sit down. My mom at one head of the table, my dad at the other, and then us children. There were two. I had 3 other siblings. Yeah, 3 siblings. So there were 4 of us, and we always had a good meal. Oh my goodness, we were never hurting for meals. So there's just a little bit of my background. Let me know what yours is. I would love to hear your stories, and some of them I'm going to read. Yeah, I can read them tonight, because I'm going to do one more video. Probably around, let's see, what is it? It's maybe in about 4 hours, I'll do another video for you. Christmas Eve, yeah. I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I'll think of something. But if you are at home right now, and you're probably settled in, you're probably watching a movie. If you have cable or whatever, you could probably watch the Christmas Story over and over, or is that tomorrow? It'll be back to back to back to back, right? But you're probably settled in. You know what you're going to have to eat tonight. A lot of you are going to go to bed early, and you're going to wake up, and it's going to be Christmas, and I'll do a Christmas video where we can just chat. I mean, I'm just talking to you, that if you're not alone, you're not going to be watching probably all these videos, and that's fine with me. But I'm talking to you who are alone, or just want to be reassured that everything's okay, and be relaxed a little bit. Some of you say my videos are very relaxing. Well, I hope they are. What am I going to eat? Well, I've got some broccoli, and I'm going to a hotel tonight, and I'm taking in my stove, and I'm going to I'm going to do my broccoli there in the hotel room because there's just so much condensation. I'm still trying to dry out from when this was all wet, and it's just a little bit damp in here. And what is humidity is at 64, but earlier it was at 79% humidity. Yeah, and I looked out there. I have my windshield cover on, and when I took it off, and I mean it's getting warm outside. I had condensation. It's just that it's starting to evaporate and it's sticking to my windows. So I hope it doesn't rain for a little while again because I'm ready to dry out in here. It just feels a little bit, like it needs to dry out. Well, I'm at about 16 minutes. So I will end this. I want to hear what your stories are. If you want to let me know. If you don't, that's fine. But I don't mind sharing with you. And I just wanted to let you know that you're loved. And I'm thinking about you. And I am advocating contact and human contact. Okay? Yeah. That's what I'm advocating. We need each other. There is a collective energy. We are made of energy. We are. We're made of atoms. And every atom is 99.999% energy. There's only 0.001% of a little nucleus matter. So we are made of energy. And there is a collective energy out there. And I just want to connect up with you on that energy, okay? I love you so much. I love you. I'll see you in about 4 hours, okay? Bye.